You're here because this video is for you. See, it all started with just one drink. I'll just have one drink. One drink to de-stress, one drink to relax, one drink to escape. So you grabbed a drink, which led into another, and another, and another. And for a moment, you found that feeling of relief, of escape, of peace, only to wake up the next morning, kicking yourself for breaking the promises that you've already made to your family, to God, to yourself. And if that's you right now, I want you to know one thing. It's okay. You are not alone. See, I was just like this, except it was every single night. Every night I fought the nagging urge to just grab one drink. And every morning after, I'd wake up feeling guilty, shameful, and defeated, having let myself down for the 100th time. Now, this was all until I made a discovery that took me from obsessing about drinking alcohol for almost a decade to being in complete control for the past 4 years. See, this is Elon Musk, one of the most powerful men in the world. You might be wondering what Elon Musk and controlling alcohol have in common. Well, here's the thing. In an almost 10-year-old interview with Elon Musk, I discovered something about a totally new, easy-to-use method to get permanent control of alcohol, something that anybody can start using immediately. And after I learned about this simple method, I went from obsessing about alcohol to being in complete control for the past 4 years. And I created a breakthrough alcohol control system that boasts a 92% success rate, which all works by removing the obsession and desire to drink alcohol like flicking an off switch in your brain. Now, I will show you exactly what I learned in that interview in a couple of minutes and how it addresses the root cause of drinking. But this new method works if you've already tried things like AA, rehab, medication, and just using your own personal strength and willpower. And this new method is not about beating you down, talking about your problems, and making you feel guilty for your choices. I know you're probably skeptical, especially if you've already tried to control your drinking in the past. But this is totally different to everything else out there. This one simple method got me featured in Men's Health, BBC, and Unilad. It got me clients from places like NASA, PayPal, Forbes, the US Navy, JP Morgan, and even Google. And even doctors, therapists, and addiction experts are now starting to use this simple method to get permanent control of their own drinking habits without even leaving their own home in as little as 48 hours. Now, a quick word of warning. There are billion-dollar alcohol companies out there that would love to pay millions of dollars to take this video down. And because of the 92% success rate, rehab centers are desperate to dismiss it because it's about to put them out of business. And because of forces like this, I have no idea how much longer I'll be able to keep sharing this one simple and brand new method with you, because if they end up taking this video down, it will be gone forever. And there is no other person in the world that's teaching this new way of doing things. So please, do yourself a favor. If you're watching this and getting in control of your drinking is important to you, do not close this page down, because in the next 5 minutes, you're going to learn about how this new breakthrough method works that will show you exactly how to get control of your drinking. And whenever you think about drinking alcohol, it'll be like flicking an off switch in your brain. So instead of obsessing over alcohol, your family start to look at you in complete admiration, all looking at you, saying we're proud of you. And even though some of your friends, they may doubt you at first, they'll all start coming to you, asking you how you did it, how you turned it all around. And after using this new method, you will become somebody that's true to their word. You will follow through with what you say you're going to do. You become somebody that other people can trust. So you're probably wondering, what exactly is this one simple method? Well, in order for me to tell you about how this method works, I need to tell you about how I stumbled into it. So who exactly am I? I'm Leon Sylvester, and I drank alcohol for close to a decade. And here's the thing, alcohol caused massive problems in my life. I've thrown up blood on a MacBook. I've had to borrow money off my loved ones, and I've even contemplated ending it all. I've destroyed a business because of my drinking. I've destroyed a relationship with a partner and caused tremendous damage to my family. The level of shame, guilt, and pain that alcohol caused me is tremendous. And I would drink for all sorts of reasons. If I was bored, I'd drink. If I was unhappy, I'd drink. If I just wanted to escape life and ignore my problems, I'd drink. And when it comes to stopping drinking, I have tried it all. I've been to AA meetings, desperately sitting in the rooms, calling myself a powerless alcoholic, and tried to do the 12 steps. I've tried stopping on my own, using nothing but willpower, white knuckling it, just being a man and pushing through. I've gone to church. I've dropped to my knees and begged God to help me, get through this obsession to drink, but none of it worked for me long term. Every single time I tried, I'd fall flat on my face, continually embarrassing myself and breaking promises to my family. Now, I've had periods where I drink daily for months at a time. Sometimes I might just be binge drinking, and there's even times where I might not even drink at all. But the issue is that I could never get rid of the obsession to drink alcohol. Every day was the same. I'd want to drink. And most of the time, I'd listen to that voice in my head that said, just have one drink. And we all know where that ends up. Now, there was even a 7-month period where I did not touch a drop of alcohol. But the problem is that my obsession never left. Now, just over 4 years ago, I discovered something that didn't just change my drinking, but this discovery went on to change the lives of thousands of other drinkers around the world. I've now gone on to make over 400 YouTube videos, 300 podcast episodes, and impacted almost 5 million lives through sharing information about this method. I have received thousands of comments, emails, and messages from people who have already successfully used this method. I've got clients who have worked at places like NASA, Forbes, the US Navy, PayPal, JP Morgan, and Google. And I myself have been featured in Men's Health, BBC, and Unilab. And you're probably wondering, how on earth did I find out about this? Well, as I was explaining, I drank alcohol for close to a decade. And just over 4 years ago, right before I made this new discovery, which I'll get to in a second, I was in a very dark place. Before I made this new discovery, I was drinking daily. I was tired, lethargic, fat, and depressed. I'd already destroyed my business, a relationship, I had sold my Mercedes, and ran out of cash. I was deeply ashamed of who I was becoming. I tried to start a business in London and failed, and ended up moving back to Oxford, trying to rebuild my cash reserves, and got a job as a waiter. I was friends with a vicar, and whilst he was visiting the States, he let me stay in his place because I'd ran out of money. And this is when I hit my own rock bottom moment. I'd gone out the night after a shift at the restaurant and got completely hammered. I was so drunk that I even ended up taking drugs that night, and ended up staying awake until 9 a.m. the following morning. And at home, I ended up drinking almost a full bottle of whiskey. I'm just so ashamed to admit this, but I even stole the whiskey from my housemate. This wasn't who I wanted to be. But the obsession to drink led me to do things that the sober me would never even dream of doing. Anyway, after waking up at 4 p.m. the following afternoon, I looked around this room and broke down. There was trash dotted around the room, dirty laundry everywhere. I totally let myself go. And there it was, staring at me in the face, the almost empty bottle of whiskey. I was disgusted. I wanted the ground to swallow me up. I wanted to end it all there and then. And I knew I had two choices at this point. I could either keep going down this same path of destruction, and who knows where I'd be 5 years from now. Honestly, I don't even know if I'd still be alive. Or I could make a vow to solve this problem once and for all. I could fully commit myself to figuring it out. And luckily, that is the path that I took. Ever since I've been a child, I have loved learning. So I started doing exactly that. I read books, academic journals, listened to podcasts, took courses. I read into neuroscience, belief systems, marketing, AA, evolutionary psychology, and tried to figure out why I kept making the same mistakes. And that's where I made the discovery that changed my relationship with alcohol forever. I discovered the root cause of the problem. See, before we get into the root cause of the problem, how many of us think that the drinking is our fault? The thing is that the drinking has got nothing to do with you. I'm telling you, none of this is your fault. The fault lies in what I discovered. I discovered something called the conditioning. The root cause of all of our drinking problems lies in what we've been conditioned to believe from day one of being born. Billions of dollars of advertising spend, product placement, celebrities, media coverage have all led you to believe that drinking alcohol is normal. And it's led you to believe that controlling your alcohol intake is hard and challenging. In fact, they want you to believe that it's impossible to do this. And you'll see why this is important in a minute. But the thing is once I realized this, I knew that if I could find a way to undo the conditioning, I could make a logical choice to either drink or not to drink. So let me explain exactly how my new method works and how it makes removing the desire to drink feel like flicking a switch in your brain. So you can simply take it or leave it. Now, I'm sure you've heard of Elon Musk. The way Musk approaches problems isn't how normal people approach them. Let's check out this short interview from him here.
And then I think it's also important to reason from first principles rather than by analogy. So the normal way that we conduct our lives is we reason by analogy. We're doing this because it's like something else that was done. Or it's like what other people are doing. Because it's kind of mentally easier to reason by analogy rather than from first principles. But by first principles is kind of a physics way of looking at the world. And what that really means is you kind of boil things down to the most fundamental truths and say, okay, what are we sure is true or as sure as possible is true? And then reason up from there. So first principles would be to say, okay, what are the material constituents of the batteries? What is the spot market value of the material constituents? So you can say, okay, it's got cobalt, nickel, aluminum, carbon, and some polymers for separation and a steel can. So break that down on a material basis and say, okay, what if we bought that in the London Metal Exchange, what would each of those things cost? Like, oh, geez, it's like $80 per kilowatt hour. So clearly, you just need to think of clever ways to take those materials and combine them into the shape of a battery cell, and you can have batteries that are much, much cheaper than anyone realizes.
Now, when I heard this, everything started to click. For 10 years, I had been doing it completely wrong. And all of a sudden, I knew exactly what I needed to do to solve this problem once and for all. I had simply been doing what everybody else told me to do. I had been reasoning from analogy, which meant doing things like AA meetings, using willpower, using religion, medication, therapies, rehabs, and so on. A bunch of stuff that I had already tried, but none of it ever worked. So instead, I applied what Musk did. Instead, I took a first principles approach to my issue with alcohol. I broke down all of the component parts to the problem. I looked into why I thought I was an alcoholic, whether or not alcohol truly relaxed me, whether it gave me courage, whether or not it was actually an enjoyable thing, why it was marketed as glamorous, sophisticated, harmless, and so much more. And within a matter of just 48 hours, I had a total breakthrough, because what I did next changed absolutely everything. What I did is I applied first principles thinking to the conditioning. It was a rush, an epiphany, like somebody had just changed the circuitry in my brain. Instead, I saw alcohol in a completely different frame of mind. Instead of seeing it as a pleasurable thing, I started seeing it as ethanol, a poison. I started looking at other drinkers like they were drinking bleach. I had fully reframed my perception. It felt like a switch had been flicked. And this happened quickly. It all happened within a matter of hours. For the first time in my life, I felt true control and the obsession to drink left me. And this was just over 4 years ago. And I will tell you how you can apply this method in a second. But first, you need to know that for the first year, I didn't tell a soul. I kept this discovery to myself. I needed to check that it actually worked. But I was feeling like a new person. I started working harder on my business. I got into another relationship and got back into fitness training. I started becoming the person I always knew I could have been. And the funny thing is that I still frequented bars, restaurants, and spent time around other people that drank alcohol, which was something that I was warned against in AA. But I had no issues whatsoever. Anyway, after 1 year, I posted a YouTube video about my journey up until that point, and it went viral. It received thousands of views and hundreds of comments, and people asked me for help. So I also showed a couple of people about this brand new method, and it didn't just work for me. Others started experiencing the same mental shift that I had. Leon, the desire to drink has left me. It's like a switch in my mindset. And now I've helped people in over 100 countries get control of their drinking with an unheard of 92% success rate. But the thing is using first principles thinking is not just about controlling alcohol. When people apply this new, simple method, they're able to rebuild their marriages, get in the best shape of their life, and grow their businesses and careers to new heights. They start to feel proud of who they are. Imagine for a second, your friends and family all staring at you with total disbelief. People in your area gossiping about how you've managed to turn your whole life around. Ramona used this method 2 years ago. She's still in control after 20 years of trial and error. David is now 12 months in control after using this brand new method. John is now 4 months. Colin is over 90 days, and Nick just reached 1 year. And this list goes on and on and on. And if you want to start applying first principles thinking, there is a proven step-by-step system for you to apply that I'll get to in a second. But for it to work with a 92% success rate, you need to be clear about a few things. This is not about calling yourself an alcoholic and begging God to help you. So if you've already tried that, it does not matter. See, alcohol is the only drug on the planet where you get a label if you can't control it. We don't have pornaholics, we don't have gambleaholics, we don't have nicotineaholics. The problem lies in how we've been conditioned to see alcohol. This conditioning is why this made up self-help term exists in the first place. And the only solution to remove the conditioning is through through logic, and that's by taking a first principles thinking approach. It's about reframing how you view alcohol in a proven step-by-step way. Now, this is also not about stopping drinking entirely on day one, using nothing but your own personal strength and willpower. So if you've already tried stopping alone, this is radically different. See, if I was to tell you just to stop drinking right now, you'd be using nothing but willpower and personal strength. And listen, that never ever works long term, because you never address the root cause of the problem, which is the conditioning. So this is one of the only methods in the world that does not make you stop drinking, because when you start breaking things down from first principles, you realize that willpower and controlling drinking are completely unrelated. And finally, before I tell you how to apply this method, this is not about focusing on the past or looking at guilt and trauma. If that's been unhelpful for you in the past, this method will still work. There are dozens of methods out there that will address guilt, shame, and trauma. But what happens after sitting with somebody for an hour, talking about all the bad stuff that happened in your life? Well, we want to drink more. Instead, when using first principles thinking, what we do is take a future-focused approach, which is all about improving your life instead of going to the past. So instead of creating guilt, we empower ourselves to work on our family, our fitness, our health, our spirituality, our careers, and our happiness. So you've already seen proof that this new method works. I've shown you that it's a breakthrough industry-first system, and you know that it's already being used by doctors and health experts on their own drinking problems. And it all works in as little as 48 hours. So you're probably ready to start applying it. Well, I have great news. I have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you actually want help applying first principles thinking, over the next 7 days, I'm looking to share this method with 10 new people. 10 people who want to get permanent control of their drinking in a fast, easy and predictable manner. The problem is that if I was to share all of my secrets in this short video, all the red pill information that I've discovered about the conditioning, I'm almost certain that this video would be taken down. So the full system can only be accessed by people who are A, not going to leak my methods to rehabs and alcohol companies, B, they're open-minded enough to face the truth, and C, they're ambitious, motivated, and willing to try something new. So in order to access this new method in its entirety, I had to create a filter. And that filter is a 100% free and 100% confidential phone consultation. During that phone consultation, you'll either be speaking with myself or a practitioner of first principles thinking. And bear in mind, every single person that you will speak to has already successfully used this method to solve their own drinking problem. So if you want to book one of these free consultations, I need you to click the link below this video right now. Once the 10 spots are taken, we'll be closing down the consultations until all 10 people have successfully worked through the method. So if you want to try this new method, please don't delay. Click the link below this video right now. On that consultation call, you'll be asked a few easy to answer questions. And if we think that you're a good fit for using this new method, we'll explain exactly how it works and how you can start using it quickly. So after the call, as soon as we teach you about the first principles thinking system, you will have immediate access to the full method, and you'll be able to start working through the breakthrough system within minutes. And within a matter of hours, you could have also flicked that off switch in your brain. So why exactly am I offering these calls for free? The way I see it is that if I can share this new method with 10 people, not only does it help me with my mission to maintain the highest success rate in the world for any method, but I know that some of you will get so much value from the call that you'll just want to work directly with me. And instead, you'll want my help implementing this brand new method. So there is absolutely nothing to lose by scheduling this free confidential consultation. And you only have things to gain. But the thing is it all starts with you making a choice to try something different, a choice to do something new. A choice that Art made over 1 year ago, a choice that Todd made over 1 year ago, a choice that Brad made over 1 year ago, and a choice that thousands of others have already made as well. So please, before it's too late, click the link below this video, schedule one of our free consultations, and we'll speak soon.